for this wonderful award, and also to my friends and colleagues at the Alumni Association. Well, back in the summer of 1980, heading into my junior year of high school, I had a summer job and I worked with a guy who went to UAlbany. And back then they called it SUNY or Albany State or SUNY Albany, take your pick. And so we got talking at some point and he said, "What are your plans for college?" And I said, "Well, I have some ideas." He said, "Well, look, in the fall you should come and visit me and I'll give you a little bit of the college experience." So in the words of Forrest Gump, I went. I took the Trailways bus to Albany. I got an okay cab to Dutch Quad where he was living. And he said, "When you get there, I'm going to be at work, so go over to the campus center. There's a bowling alley. I'm going to leave my ID. You get it. Go to the campus center information desk and you can sign out equipment to shoot some pool in the SA Lounge. I'll come meet you." Great. So off I went. And at some point a fellow came up and he said, "Look, you mind if I join you? I have to kill some time." I said, "Sure." And the reason why he was killing time, it turns out his cousin was a bartender in the Rathskeller whose shift hadn't started yet. So my buddy showed up and ultimately all three of us went downstairs and had a few pops. Now you have to understand the drinking age back then was 18, and in the words of Blackjack, I was a soft 17. I had an ace with a 6 in front of me. So I said, "You know, this college thing's looking pretty good." So then we went over to Dutch Quad for dinner. And they had a suite mate who went home for the long weekend. It was a Thursday, so they gave me his meal card. They said, "Just, you know, don't look conspicuous." So we snuck down, and I said, "Well, how does this work?" They said, "Well, you take your tray, there's some silverware, just help yourself." I said, "What?" They said, "Yeah, it's all you could eat." And I said, I don't like to eat, but I said, "Wow, that's a pretty good deal." So now Thursday nights back then in the Rathskeller, they typically had live bands. And so off we went to the Rathskeller. And so at some point, with some degree of urgency, I had to use the restroom. And unfortunately, there was a long line out the men's room door from all the beer rentals. So I said to my buddy, "I have to go." He said, "No problem." He says, "You take this elevator to the 3rd floor. When the door opens, right in front of you is the men's room. And when you're in the campus center, if you have to go, that's where you go." So in the words of Forrest Gump, I went. And when I got out of the restroom, a truly single point in my life occurred. Because out of curiosity, I just looked around, and I went through this doorway, and when I looked to my left, there emblazoned on the wall was a giant WCDB logo. I said, "Wow, they got a radio station. That's pretty cool." See, as a kid, my father was often a guest DJ on a show in Rockland County on WRKL called Good Old Jazz. And I would often tag along when they went to record the show. So I said, "No, I'll just keep that in the back of my mind." So I went back down and enjoyed the rest of the night. But now remember, I'm here for the college experience. So the next day we go down to the LCs. I don't know if you remember the first time you saw the LCs, but from a kid from Clarkstown North High School in a little classroom, I was amazed by the size of this complex. And so we went into one of the lecture centers, and I wanted to sit in the front. My buddy said, "No, sit here." And it was the back row. And that's never a good thing. So we sat down, and there was a young lady doing her nails. Another guy was reading the New York Times, and I was sitting there going, "Okay. I'm not getting away with that Mrs. Assenheimer's class, but so be it." So the class started. I never forget, it was the history of American foreign policy taught by Lawrence Whitner. And so at some point he asked a question. I don't remember the question, but there was an awkward silence. But I remember the answer because much to the chagrin of my friend, bashful as I am, I raised my hand and he called on me and I said, "The Monroe Doctrine." And he said, "You're correct." So we walked out of class. I said, "You know, this college thing's pretty good." So I had some lunch and I took the Trailways back home, and I remember saying to myself, I go, "Wow, class, I can handle that. They got this bar, good social scene. They got this meal plan that works for me. They got a radio station." And you have to understand, I'm 16, and I'm saying to myself, you know, this Albany place, you know, it's about 2 hours from my house in New City. I go, you know, that's close enough for a cheap bus ride, but it's far enough away that my parents aren't just going to get in the car and come visit. So the rest, as they say, is history. Now, I do love UAlbany. And as a student and then as an alum, I've been very active in the life of the university, and I think it's critical to give back not only of time but also money. And I'm proud to be a member of the 1844 Society, and if you're not in it, I would ask you to join it. It's a wonderful thing for this university. Now, when people say, how much do you love the university? I say, well, I'll put it this way. And you parents can appreciate this. At night when I go to tuck my kids in and give them a hug and a kiss, I say, you know I love you, right? They go, yes, Dad. I go, you know how much? They go, yes, Dad. I go, no, you don't. Someday, though, you're going to have your own kids. And at that point, you're going to go give them a hug and a kiss goodnight. And then you're going to remember back to this time. And then and only then will you know how much I love you. Now, I'm not going to say that I love UAlbany and WCDB as much as I love my daughter Jordan, or my son Henry, or my favorite sister Marguerite. But you know what? It's pretty close. Thank you.